Good morning, students. Good morning, students. Audio is okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome in next lecture of Math F211 Mathematics 3. So presently we are doing uh, series. So in the Basel series, last time I have given you the orthogonality property. So orthogonality property. Then after how to represent the any arbitrary function in terms of the Basel function. So here the orthogonality property is if lambda m lambda n are roots of the equation jpx is equal to 0, then integral 0 to 1 x jp lambda mx jp lambda nx dx is equal to 0 when m is not equal to n, otherwise half jp plus 1 square of lambda n. So from there we have derived the expansion of the any arbitrary function in terms of the Basel function, right? Where an is given by the this formula. Here we have the proof of the orthogonality theorem,
Excuse me.
but this
Sir, can
but
you, sir, I have
yes,
a question in the previous question. Sir, can you show the solution of, yes, sir, over here. Sir, can you show the last three steps? How did we get those after the
this,
integration?
this one.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. These steps.
Here we have the t j naught t dt, integral of the t j naught dt, and we know that dy dt t dy dt of t j1 t is equal to t j naught t. So in place of this numerator, we can write as a dy dt of t g1 t, and this dy dt and this differentiation will be the cancel out. So here we put the limit t j1 t, and limit will be the 0 to lambda n by 2, and this 1 upon lambda n square you have taken outside the integral, and just we put the and we put the upper limit and lower limit. Clear? At the upper limit it become lambda n by 2 j1 of lambda n by 2, and lower at the lower limit it will be the 0.
Sir, in the last step, you have written JN, or is it J1?
It should be the j1. No, it is the jn. uh, एक मिनट, it is the j1, j1, it is j1.
Sir, also, sir, what happened to lambda n square?
That pardon, which lambda n square? This lambda n and this lambda n cancel out, na? So one lambda is here, 2 and 2 cancel out. Achha, this extra 2 we have. This extra 2 we have in this. Now clear?
Sir, can you write the final answer?
Means just you write the a here. It will become 1 upon lambda n j1 lambda n whole square j1 lambda n by 2 summation and j naught lambda n x. This is the value of the an. Any other doubt? So this is the proof of the orthogonality theorem. Presently it is not in course, but I am rolling a little slow. If you have interest, you can read out. So when m is not equal to n, its value is equal to 0, and when m is equal to n, its value is the half, and or you can say half jp square of the lambda n when m is equal to n. Now, as I have told you, we can express any function in terms of the Bessel series. So, for example, here we have the expand the function fx is equal to 1, x between 0 to 1 in a series of the form an into j naught of lambda nx, where lambda n is root of the j naught lambda n is equal to 0. So, here the fx is given to you as a 1, that we have written summation n is equal to 1 to infinity an j naught lambda nx, where j naught lambda n is equal to 0, because lambda n is the root of the j naught x. This should be the j naught x. J naught x, so j naught lambda n is equal to 0, and an is given by 2 of integral 0 to 1 x into fx. This is your fx, x into fx into j naught lambda nx. Whatever here it is given to you, that you have to write j naught lambda nx upon j. What means, generally we have the formula x fx jp lambda nx upon j p plus 1 square of lambda n into dx. So here you put n is equal to 0. Accordingly, whatever given, accordingly we decide n value of the n. So it will become 2 as it is, you have written, right? And j1 square of lambda n you have written as it is. And here we have the x into j naught lambda nx. So we substitute lambda nx as a t. This give you dx is equal to dt upon lambda n. So in place of the x, we have the t upon lambda n, and in place of the dx, we have the dt upon lambda n. So 1 upon lambda n square will come, that you write outside the integral. Now limit 0 to lambda n, t into j naught t dt, and we know that t into j naught t is nothing, it is the dy dt of the t j1 j1t by the recurrence relation 1. By recurrence relation 1, we have this relation. So now if you integrate, you will get the t j1t limit 0 to lambda n. So when we put the limit lambda n j1 lambda n, right, and 2 upon j1 square lambda n square. So in this case, lambda n and lambda n cancel out. So here j1 square, j1 cancel out. So here we have the 2 upon lambda n j1 lambda n. So that is the value of the an. So here 1 can be written as summation n is equal to 1 to infinity 2 upon lambda n j1 lambda n into j naught lambda n x. That is the expansion of the 1 in terms of the Bessel function. Similarly, if you have to write the expansion of the x, fx is equal to x when x lie between 0 to 1. So fx, it is given to you, fx can be written as summation an j1 lambda nx. So when we have the j1 lambda nx, at that time an will become 2 upon j1 plus 1 square lambda n. So it will become the j2 square lambda n integral 0 to 1 x into fx into j1 lambda nx into dx. So that will become the x square j1 lambda nx dx. Now, when we substitute lambda n x as a t, so lambda n dx is equal to du, or dx is equal to du upon lambda n. So when we substitute here, you have the 2 upon j2 square of lambda n, limit 0 to lambda n. Then in place of the x square, we have the u square upon lambda n square, and in place of the j1 lambda nx, it will become the j1 u du upon lambda n. So here we have the 1 upon lambda n cube. So that is the 1 upon lambda n cube, 2 upon j2 square lambda n, and integral will be the 0 to lambda n u square j1 u du. And again, we know that by recurrence relation 1, by recurrence relation 1, this can be written as d by dt of the u square j2u, and then on integration it will give you u square j2u du, and limit 0 to 0 to lambda n. So in this way you can write the expansion of the x. So similarly, of any order you can write. Similarly, if you have the function x plus 2 upon 2, so that can be written as x by 2 plus 1. So in general, we provide you that in which term you have to write, right? So here summation n is equal to 1 to infinity an, right, jp lambda nx, or here we take the p is equal to 0. In question we provide you for about which Bessel function we have to write the expansion. So just directly formula, we have the an is equal to 2 upon jp plus 1 square of lambda n integral 0 to 1 x into fx into j naught lambda nx dx. So just you integrate, you will get the required expansion. Similarly, if we have the function in the arbitrary interval, instead of the 0 to 1, if we have the function in the arbitrary interval, for example, fx is equal to x plus a for the x between minus a to a. In that case, first we write the function in for the interval 0 to 1. So let t is equal to x plus a upon a minus of minus a, that is the x plus a upon 2a. So here the x plus a can be written as 2at. So instead of the fx, now we write the gt, right, 280. So 280, and it will become the limit of the t will be the 0 to 1. So just as you have written the for the x, you write for the t and multiply with the 2a, you will get the for the 280, right? So in this way you can write the Bessel series. Similarly, if you have to write for the x square, instead of the x square, let us see the general one. This is from your book. So here, let fx is equal to x to power p for the interval x between 0 to 1, so that the Bessel series in the function jp lambda nx, where lambda n are the positive zeros of the jpx, is x to power p can be written as summation n is equal to 1 to infinity p 2 upon lambda n jp plus 1 lambda n jp of the lambda n x. So just you put the p is equal to 0, it will become 1, p is equal to 1, it will become x, p is equal to 2, x square, and so on. So it's exactly the same. X to power p can be written as summation n is equal to 1 to infinity an jp lambda nx, where an can be written as, an can be written as 2 upon jp plus 1 square of lambda n integral 0 to 1 x into x to power p jp lambda nx. This can be written as x to power p plus 1, and when we put lambda nx is equal to t, we have the 2 upon jp plus 1 square lambda n, right, lambda n integral 0 to lambda n and t to power p plus 1 jpt dt upon lambda n to power p plus 2. So that lambda n to power p plus 2 you can write outside the integral, and the integral of t p plus 1 jpt will be the t to power p plus 1 jp plus 1 by recurrence relation 1. By recurrence relation 1 we have this relation. So when we put the limit, you have the value of the an as 2 upon lambda n jp plus 1 of lambda n. So this is the most general formula, uh, right? So here just you put p is equal to 0 1 2 3 whatever the value, accordingly you will get the expansion. So that's all in the Bessel series or Bessel function. Anything you want to ask in this? Now, next chapter is the Laplace transform. Laplace transform is very useful from application point of view, not only in this course, even in the higher study also. Whenever you study the any wave motion, right, signals, right, propagation, there you have to apply the Laplace transform. And most important use of the Laplace transform is, with the help of the Laplace transform, you can convert the differential equation into the system of equation. In general, algebraic equation is easy to solve. If you have to solve the 2x plus 2y is equal to 5 and 5x plus 6y is equal to 7, then easily you can determine the value of the x and y, right? So when we have the system of equation or algebraic equation, then easily you can determine the solution. So with the help of the Laplace transform, you can convert the given differential equation or system of the differential equation into the system of the equation or system of algebraic equation, right? So that is the main application of the Laplace transform. So Laplace, what is the meaning of the Laplace transform? So here uh, you have the idea of the Laplace transform earlier also, during the differential calculus or integral calculus or in pure mathematics. We have the important term, what is the transformation. There you have used the differential operator, means dy dt of any given function, integral operator, differential operator, integral operator, or any, you can say any arbitrary operator. So there all are nothing, all are termed as an integral transform. So here transform we represent as a t, and transform generally we take for the function, and it is nothing, it is equal to the integral 0 to b k of px into fx into dx. Means you are transforming your function in terms of the x to in terms of the p using this integral, provided this integral should exist, and that coming function we represent by the capital of fp. Just you are changing the independent variable x to p using this transformation. If this integral is existing, this k is the kernel. So in the different transformation, we have the different kernel, and accordingly we have the different study. For example, Laplace transform, Fourier transform, right, and so many other transform. Just we have the different values of the k, we have the different value of the transform, different type of the transformation, and all these transformations are linear in nature, right? You have the idea what is the linear in nature, linear in nature. So here means all the transformation must be the linear in nature. So now we are concentrating here only for the Laplace transform. We are not going for the general transformation. We will concentrate only for the Laplace transform. So Laplace transform, given function fx defined for all real number x greater than equal to 0, means here function is given to you for the non-negative x. The Laplace transform of the fx, we define the Laplace transform of the fx, it is nothing, it is the function of a new variable p. Here we take the new variable p instead of the x, now we change the variable p. So new variable p given by Laplace of any function is nothing, it is the integral 0 to infinity. Instead of the k we have the e to power px. K is what? Function of p and x. So here we take the exponential of minus px, e to power minus px into fx into dx, and that we write as a f of p, right? Means that function we represent by the capital F and with the variable p, with the variable p. So this is the definition. In this case, in the Laplace transform, kernel is, in the Laplace transform, kernel is the e to power minus px. The Laplace transform is said to exist if the integral, this integral 1 converges for some value of p, right? Otherwise it does not. Means for all function it is not necessary you can write the Laplace transform. For the existence of the Laplace transform, this integral must exist, then only we say that, or this integral must exist, or this integral must be the convergent, right? Then only we say the Laplace transform of the particular function is existing. Let us um, start with the easy function, then we go with the application part, right? So let us, first example is the Laplace of 1 is nothing, it is the 1 upon p. Laplace of 1 is equal to 1 upon p. So what is the Laplace of 1? Laplace of 1 by definition, what is the definition? 0 to integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px fx into dx. So just in place of the fx you put the 1. So it will become integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px into 1 into dx. So its integral will be the e to power minus px upon minus p. So when we put the limit, it will give you minus 1 upon p e to power minus px in limit 0 to infinity, and e to power minus infinity is 0. So this will give you 1 upon p. So now you can say that Laplace of 1 is 1 upon p. Laplace of 1 is the 1 upon p. Now similarly, second result, Laplace, this you have to remember. Laplace of x to power n is factorial of n upon p to power n plus 1. So by definition, Laplace infinity e to power minus px into x to power n into dx. Integral. So just you put the value of the fx. Integral e to the minus px into x to power n into dx. So when we do the by parts, so here we integral of this is the second function, this is the first function. So first function as it is x to power n, and integral of the second function minus 1 upon p e to power minus px, minus derivative of the first function x to power n minus 1, and integral of the second function minus 1 upon p e to power minus px dx, and limit 0 to infinity, limit 0 to infinity. So for the both limit, because e to power minus infinity is 0, and x for the lower limit x to power n is 0. So under the both limit, the first integrand, first integral is the 0. Under both limit, first integral is 0. That can also be written as, minus 1 upon p limit n tends to infinity, limit n tends to infinity, and x to power n upon e to power px. So as you apply the L'Hopital rule, right, this will give you 0. So under the both limit, this will be the 0. So here we have the, and here we have the, this is the n. So n upon p you can take outside, right? N upon p you can take outside. So in here we have the integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px x to power n minus 1 dx. So now again you can integrate this, but what is this? Integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px into fx into dx. That is nothing, that is the Laplace of x to power n minus 1. Laplace of x to power n minus 1 means you can say that Laplace of x to power n is nothing, it is the n upon p Laplace of x to power n minus 1. And similarly, if you write the Laplace of the x to power n minus 1, that can be written as n minus 1 upon p Laplace of the x to power n minus 2, and so on if you continue. So here we have the n upon p, n minus 1 upon p, 1 upon p, and Laplace of 1. Laplace of 1 just now we have computed as a 1 upon p. So here just you write the Laplace of 1 as a 1 upon p. So it will become the factorial n upon p to power n plus 1. So Laplace of x to power n is nothing factorial n upon p to power n plus 1. That is the Laplace of the polynomial. Now Laplace of the exponential function, Laplace of e to power ax, that is equal to 1 upon p minus a when p greater than mod of the mod of a. P must be greater than modulus of the a. So by definition, we know that Laplace of e to power ax is what? Integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px into fx into dx. So fx is what? E to power ax. That can be written as e to power minus p minus a, because here we have taken the p greater than mod of a. So always this quantity will be the positive, right? So integral 0 to infinity e to power minus p minus a into x into dx. Then only e to power minus infinity will be the 0. If it is not positive, then it will be the problematic. Then it will become the e to power infinity. So its integral will be e to power minus p minus a x upon p minus a, limit 0 to infinity. So it will give you 1 upon p minus a, and p must be greater than mod of the a. Then Laplace of the trigonometric function, Laplace of the cos ax is equal to p square upon p square plus a square, and Laplace of the sin ax is equal to a upon um, p square plus a square. So by definition, Laplace of the sin ax is what? Integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px into fx into dx. And you know that Laplace of the or integral of the e to power ax sine of bx dx, right? You know the formula. So by applying the formula, we have the integral e to power minus px upon a square plus p square and minus p sine ax minus a cos ax. Just you put the limit 0 to infinity. So e to power minus infinity is 0, right? And e to power and sine 0 is 0. So here you will get the a upon a square plus p square. So that is the Laplace of the sine ax. Laplace of the sine ax. Similarly, a, you know the integral of the e to power ax cos bx. So using that, you can determine the value of the Laplace of the cos ax. So Laplace of the cos ax is equal to integral 0 to infinity e to power minus px cos ax. So by the formula, its integral is e to power minus px upon a square plus p square into minus p cos ax plus a sin ax, limit 0 to infinity. So e to power minus infinity is 0 and sine 0 is 0. So that will give you p upon a square plus p square. So that is the Laplace of the cos ax. So these formula you have to remember. Now you can say that how we have the idea that we should take the kernel like this, right? What is the motivation, right, to take the kernel like this? So you know that any function can be written as a power series, right? And power series is what? Summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity an x to power n. And summation is what? It means integration is what? It is the limiting sum, right? So we can write the summation as a integral. So it will become the integral 0 to infinity at instead of the an, now the function of t. So at, because we have to take the continuous, at x to power t dt, right? And here, if you assume, replace the x by the e to power minus p. If you replace the x by the e to power minus p, so it will be the 0 to infinity e to power minus pt at dt. So that is only the definition of the Laplace transform. So Laplace of the at. So from the power series only, we have the motivation to write or to take the Laplace transform. Now, this is from your book. Without integrating, so that Laplace of the sine hyperbolic ax. It is not a sine ax, it is a sine hyperbolic ax. So sine hyperbolic ax, it is also one kind of the trigonometric function, right? Sine hyperbolic, cosine hyperbolic. This is also one kind of the trigonometric function. So its value is equal is a upon p square minus a square, and p must be greater than equal to modulus of the a and Laplace of the cos hyperbolic ax. Cos hyperbolic ax is equal to p upon p square minus a square. P must be greater than equal to a. So from the calculus or from the trigonometry, you can say we know that sine hyperbolic ax is nothing. It is the e to power ax minus e to power minus ax upon 2. So that we are writing. Similarly, cos of hyperbolic ax is equal to e to power ax plus e to power minus ax upon 2. And from here we can write that tan hyperbolic, cot hyperbolic, cosine, sec hyperbolic, and cosine hyperbolic. So Laplace of the sine hyperbolic can be written as Laplace of e to power ax minus e to power minus ax upon 2. And we know that Laplace transform is nothing, it is the linear in nature. Laplace transform is linear, right? Is linear. Linear means it can, what is the meaning of the linear? Linear means ax plus b y if we have, so that can be written as a constant you can write outside, and it will become the L of x plus b L of y. That is the property of the linear. If any function is linear, so you can write like this. So that can be written as 1 by 2 you can take outside the Laplace. So Laplace of the e to power ax minus Laplace of the e to power minus ax. And we have seen Laplace of the e to power ax is what? Laplace of e to power ax is what? That is the 1 upon p minus a. Just now we have derived. And Laplace of e to power minus ax, ax is what? 1 upon p minus of minus a. Right? So after taking the LCM, it will become 2a upon p square minus a square. Right? And for both, we have the p must be greater than a, p must be greater than minus a. So we have written that p greater than, right, p greater than mod of the a. So this will become 1 by 2. So 2 and 2 cancel out. So here we have the a upon p square minus a square. That is the formula of the Laplace of the sine hyperbolic ax. Instead of writing this, you write the p greater than a for the both, because p greater than minus a is not suitable here. Right? So here we have the Laplace of the sine hyperbolic is a upon p square minus a square. Similarly, Laplace of the cos hyperbolic ax. So Laplace of the cos hyperbolic ax can be written as e to power ax plus e to power minus ax upon 2. So since LT is linear, so this can be written as 1 by 2 Laplace of the e to power ax plus Laplace of the e to power minus ax. And Laplace of the e to power ax is 1 upon p minus a plus 1 upon p plus a. That can be written as p upon p square minus a square. So that is the Laplace of the cos hyperbolic ax. So now find the Laplace of the sine square ax. First, we are writing the Laplace transform of the elementary functions. Then we solve the differential equation using the Laplace transform. First, we are learning here how to compute the Laplace transform of the elementary function. So here you have to determine, find the Laplace of the sine square ax and Laplace transform of the cos square ax without integrating, means without definition. Then how are these two transformations related to one another? So we know that sine square ax can be written as 1 minus 2 1 minus cos of 2ax upon 2. So Laplace of the sine square ax can be written as Laplace of 1 minus cos 2ax upon 2. Since it follow the linear property, lt is linear, so it can be written as 1 by 2 Laplace of 1 minus Laplace of the cos 2ax. And Laplace of 1, just now we have derived as a 1 upon p. And Laplace of the cos 2ax, so Laplace of the cos ax we have derived, right? So it is the p upon p square plus a square. Instead of the a, here we have the 2a, so it will become p upon p square plus 2a square. So on taking the LCM, we have the 2a square upon p into p square plus 4a square. P must be greater than 0. Similarly, if you have to write the Laplace of the cos square ax, so Laplace of the cos square ax can be written as 1 plus cos 2ax upon 2. So Laplace of the cos square ax can be written as Laplace of 1 plus cos 2x upon 2. And since Laplace transform is linear, so that can be written as 1 by 2 Laplace of 1 plus Laplace of the cos 2x. And Laplace of 1 is what? 1 upon p. And Laplace of the cos ax, we know that p upon p square plus a square. Instead of the a, now we have the 2a. So it will become p upon p square plus 2a whole square. So after taking the LCM, right, you can write its formula. Now, if you add Laplace of the sine square ax plus Laplace of the cos square x. So Laplace of the sine square ax is the 1 by 2, 1 upon p minus 1 p upon p square plus 2a square. And Laplace of the cos square ax is equal to 1 by 2 p upon p square plus 2a square. So we put the value of the Laplace of the sine square ax and cos square ax. So here you can observe that we can cancel these two. So it will become the 1 upon p. Now I have told you the Laplace follow the linear property. It means this can be written as Laplace of sine square ax plus cos square ax. And this can be written as Laplace of the 1. From the trigonometry, we know that it is the Laplace of 1. So, and we know from here also, we know that Laplace of 1 is what? 1 upon p. So, that is 1. So, here you can see that Laplace follow the linear property. Use the formula given in the text, means whatever the formula we have derived, to find the Laplace transform of each of the following function. So we have to solve this. So for example, L of 10, right? L of 10, L of 10. So L of 10 is what? 10 into L of 1. This 10 can be written as 10 into 1. 10 into 1. 10 you can take outside. So 10 into L of 1, that is the 10 of 1 upon P, that is the 10 by P. If you have to compute the fourth question, D part, so Laplace of the 4 sin x cos x plus 2 e to power minus x. So 4 sin x cos x can be written as 2 sin 2x, and here we have the 2 e to power minus x. So 2 you can take outside because Laplace follow the linear property, and Laplace of the sin 2x plus 2 into Laplace of the e to power minus x. So the Laplace of the sin 2x is what? A upon p square plus a square. So it is the 2 into 2 upon p square plus 2 square, and Laplace of the e to power ax is the 1 upon p minus a. That so it will give you 1 upon p plus 1. P plus 1. So here we have the 4 upon p square plus 4 plus 2 upon p plus 1. So just apply the linearity property or linear property, right? And apply the direct formula of the from the text, and you can find the Laplace transform of the complete function. Now find the function fx whose transform is this. Now they have given the fp. They have given the fp, right? So fp is what? Laplace transform of the fx. So in this question they have given the FP. Now they are asking for which these are the transformation. So for example, here the A part 30 upon p to power 4. So 30 upon p to power 4 can be written as 5 into factorial 3. Factorial 3 means 6. So 5 into 6 upon p to power 3 plus 1. And factorial n upon p to power n plus 1 is the Laplace transform of the x to power n. Laplace transform of x to power n. So that will become 5 into Laplace transform of x cube. And that, because Laplace transform follow the linear property, it can be written as Laplace transform of the 5x cube. So Laplace transform of the 5x cube is nothing, it is a 30 upon p to power 4. Similarly, if we have fp is equal to 2 upon p plus 3. So p 2 upon p plus 3 can be written as 2 upon p minus of minus 3. If you see carefully, so it can be written as 2 into 1 upon p minus of minus 3, and 1 upon p of minus 3 can be written as Laplace of e to power minus 3x. And since Laplace follow the linear property, that 2 you can write inside the transformation. So here we have Laplace of the 2 e to power minus 3x. Similarly, if we have Laplace of 1 upon p square plus p to power 4, so in the denominator you can take p square common. So here we have the 1 upon p square into p square plus 1. So by the partial fraction, it can be written as, using the partial fraction, it can be written as 1 upon p square minus 1 upon p square plus 1. So 1 upon p square, 1 upon p square, here we know that what is the factorial of 1 upon x to p to power n 1 plus 1 plus 1. This we can write, and it is nothing. This is the Laplace of the x. So this is the Laplace of the x. Similarly, this 1 upon, this can be written as a upon p square plus a square. So that is the Laplace transform of the sin x. Laplace of the sin x. So using the linear property, we can write it as a Laplace of the x minus sin x. So clear? Or any doubt? So in both way, we have seen how to write the Laplace transform. In both way, we have seen. Any doubt? Now, in starting, I said you, then we cannot write the Laplace transform. Even every function cannot be the Laplace transform of some other function. Right? Every function cannot be the Laplace transform of the any other function. Right? So, what are the condition for which we can write the Laplace transform, and what are the condition for which, right, Laplace that can be the Laplace transform of the any other function. So here you, from the integral calculus, you have the idea. Integral 0 to infinity fx dx is set to converge when we say it is a convergent if limit b tends to infinity 0 to b fx dx exists, then we say it is a converge. When we say this is the converge, when converge if integral 0 to infinity mod of fx dx converges, means for being convergence it must be the absolute convergent. And when we say it is the absolute convergent, when if you take any other function, when you take any other function, let's say gx, where gx is greater than equal to mod of the fx, and if this integral 0 to infinity gx dx convergent, then we say integral 0 to infinity fx dx is also convergent. So converges or converges if integral 0 to infinity gx dx converges, where gx must be greater than equal to mod of the fx. So by comparison test. So because in this in the Laplace transform also we have to compute the integration 0 to infinity. Integral 0 to b fx dx b greater than 0 must exist for first convergence, right? First for the first convergence for x greater than equal to 0. To guarantee this, it is sufficient to assume that fx must be continuous. If it is not continuous, at least piecewise continuous, means at least piecewise continuous. It should be the piecewise. If it is not continuous, at least it must be piecewise continuous. Right? It must be at least piecewise continuous. So here to guarantee this, it is sufficient to assume fx is continuous or at least piecewise continuous. In general, we take the integral over the interval. So we can break, right? That we can break. So at least piecewise continuous integral over the interval is the integral over the subinterval. Every subinterval. Sawtooth function, right? For example, the force, right? Thrust, force. For example, suddenly you are applying the voltage. Suddenly you are removing the voltage. Suddenly you are applying the force. Suddenly you are remove. For example, spring. In the spring, as you remove the load, it jump. So in that we can apply the if you want to study that thing, right? Vibration. So you have to go through the Laplace transform. Now, if fx is means for the existence of the Laplace transform, fx must be piecewise continuous. If it is not piecewise continuous, then you cannot take the Laplace transform. If fx is piecewise continuous for x greater than 0, for the existence of the Laplace transform, see the behavior of the integral e to power minus px fx for the large x. To ensure the integrand diminishes rapidly enough for convergence, assume fx is of exponential order. Means first we have to see that fx must be piecewise continuous. After that, it must be of exponential order. What is the meaning of the exponential order? Fx mod of the fx must be less than m into e to power cx. Then only you can determine the Laplace transform. Otherwise, you cannot determine the Laplace transform. If it is not, if the given function is diverging in nature, you cannot determine the integration. If integration is not existing, you cannot determine the Laplace transform. So for the existence of the Laplace transform, the function must be of exponential order. Exponential order means mod of the fx must be less than equal to m into e to power cx. So then only you can determine the right. Sometimes in the quizzes we ask this type of the question whether we can find the Laplace transform of the given function or not. For example, Laplace of the e to power x square you cannot determine. Right, in next class I continue but this because Laplace transform of the e to power x square you cannot determine because it is not of exponential order. So in next class I continue. For the today's class, from the today class, any doubt?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how is 1 by factorial of a negative integer 0?
You are asking this, na?
Yes, sir.
So that is the gamma of means 1 upon gamma of n plus 1 and gamma of n plus 1 tends to infinity, right? Tends to infinity. So 1 upon gamma of n will become the 0, then this will be the 0. And gamma of n plus 1 is what? It is the integral 0 to infinity, right? We have the integration of this, and that integration we have seen it is the infinity under the both limit. By definition, we have this integral, this gamma,
Yes, sir.
and in that we have the so in that we have the integral, and that integral we can say that from that integral we have the infinity result.
Okay, sir.